Hello and welcome to a broadcast produced by Friends of Terry Virgil. I'm Terry Virgil, your host, and today's program is a warning given by the liberals, Democrats. Well, after listening to the news, watching the news, and kind of reviewing what was said in the news today, and actually being in the great state of Wisconsin, reviewing all the presidential candidate hopefuls, and listening to mainly the two, I'm going to say, liberal/Democrat candidates, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And I can see where Hillary Clinton isn't excited to even come to the state of Wisconsin, for one thing. And another thing is, I can also see where Bernie Sanders is kind of doing the opposite a little bit, and he needs the state of Wisconsin in order to stay afloat and keep alive in the presidential race. Of course, what I can read and gather from him is that he's not going to drop out, so I don't think that's going to happen. I also know by listening to Hillary Clinton, and this is what the main point of the program is all about, actually. And socialism is the key point to what they were talking about today. They were actually mentioning things that we need to do as a country under socialism and the socialism world point of view. Yes, I mentioned several times that Hillary Clinton sounds more like a communist with the communistic world point of view. And there is a lot of truth in that, but we could see the socialistic world point of view is this. Number one, after doing a lot of looking and researching in this area that we're talking about, is mainly the area of whereby everybody that has a different skin pigmentation has got to get along with everybody else with the different skin pigmentation, with the exception of one thing. According to what I figured out and put together, is that if we were to do one thing called get along and sing kumbaya with each other, this would end the problems that we have with race, riots, or I'm going to put it this way, skin pigmentation fighting each other, whereby we human beings disagree with the person that has a different skin pigmentation. We also see this other fact that comes across with the socialistic or socialism point of view, worldview actually, is that, and I have seen these warnings, matter of fact I was given a warning several times too by the left-wing liberals and Democrats about my speech as well. They don't like it because, and their reasoning is because I'm not politically correct or have any political correctness. I'm not going to apologize for it. Neither should I. Neither should you out there if you wish not to be politically correct. I look at it this way, they're starting up these things, and believe it or not, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are actually starting up the race riots or racial riots. They're setting up the sexism and feminism riots against the GOP. Of course, they haven't tangled with a person like me too much as a libertarian because they don't think that I'm much of a, we'll say, threat in that area. But in reality, I would say their hopeful thinking is not exactly going to be their strong suit. Because to be politically correct and to have political correctness is, believe it or not, against the Constitution of the United States of America. Falls underneath the First Amendment. And it's the First Amendment rights that come up and say that you have the right and freedom of speech. Well, everybody knows that you cannot yell fire in a theater to cause a riot or a panic. That's not freedom of speech. That's just an example. Matter of fact, I got that example from the man that wrote that U.S. Constitution Amendment 1. His name was James Madison. And that's why we could get this thing from history, and stating that history would be the real backer of this idea. Bernie Sanders, as you well know, is a self-claimed socialist. And I will not back down from saying this, but if you're a self-claimed socialist, so was Adolf Hitler. Back in 1929, Adolf Hitler began to rise and become Chancellor of Germany. We could see this happening if you go through your history. The other thing is, the reason why we're calling this a warning given to people like me that are conservatives, true conservatives from the liberals and Democrats, is this much. If we happen to disagree with them, and if we happen to disagree with them in 2017, actually starting in 2017, we will be charged with a hate crime. That is what thing that Hillary Clinton has indicated throughout her whole political campaign. And if you notice, none of them have an economic policy. The only foreign policy that Hillary Clinton has is to allow the Islamic State of Muslims / ISIS / the Taliban / Al-Qaeda / ISIL to come into the United States of America and to behead people. That's her foreign policy. We saw this, how she handled Benghazi. Well, if you really think about it, criminal activity starts with those that are liberals and Democrats in this area where they're not concerned about your security or how you are. They rather see groups like the Islamic State of Muslims / ISIS / the Taliban / Al-Qaeda / ISIL come in and to commit crimes against humanity. We also seen it where Hillary Clinton is afraid to even come up with a domestic policy. Foreign policy she hasn't even talked about. She's talked about climate control. She's talked about free education for college students. She's talked about a few other things like raising taxes and telling people like me to shut up. I even got a letter from a well-known moron that is a liberal/Democrat stating that very thing. And stating that I should not be speaking against a person because they feel like that they want to destroy the United States of America, and they want to destroy all things that are moral and morality. I'm going to tell you this much about that warning. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to take it seriously, but I'm not going to stop speaking against those who believe in being sexually immoral, and those who want to see sexual immorality as a lifestyle, such as incest and bestiality and same-sex marriage, if you get what I'm trying to say here. I am not in favor of being told that climate control is real. It is not real. There's a lot more proof that shows that climate control is not what the liberals/Democrats say. I also looked at the other thing that Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders both are saying, but in different languages. One saying it more of a communistic style, and you know who she is, and you happen to know who he is. He's talking about a socialistic style of speech. And I will say this much: when it comes to creating jobs or having jobs being produced at all here in the United States of America, they both are in favor of having jobs sent out to other countries such as China, North Korea, Cuba, and Bernie Sanders would be interested, and so would Hillary Clinton be interested in having jobs being taken away by insourcing. In other words, having someone from Mexico come up and take your job away from you. That way you are forced to live with a lower means of income and lower value. That means the dollar is worthless. And both of them happen to agree that there should be no more sovereignty to the United States of America. Matter of fact, both of them agree that the history of the United States of America should be erased. That's a pretty good warning that comes from both demagogues. One of them, we know who she is by the name of Hillary Clinton, and the other one is Bernie Sanders. And yes, they give out these warnings. They give out the warnings what they're going to do. Bernie Sanders says he's going to raise taxes. That's obvious. Hillary Clinton, the words that she uses is she steps through the tulips very carefully with her words. But if you were to translate and ask for translation, you would see that Hillary Clinton likes to say, raise taxes. Matter of fact, I would say that she thinks that it's wrong and she's using a phony idea that certain drug companies shouldn't exist. And both of them agree that we should have something called socialized medications. Matter of fact, I've been given 4 phone calls warning me about speaking out against this idea. And did you know that one person had the gall to say that it is an option under Obamacare to have either to be without